relationship really with energy and with natural resources. Renewables can play such an important role to provide more reliable and affordable and healthier energy. And you are doing just that. And I want you to share a bit about your organization in Alaska, organizing in Alaska, really, to deploy solar and lower energy costs. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, for sure. For context, the Solarize program is really a community-led initiative that really strives to bring neighbors, businesses, friends together to purchase solar at bulk, to essentially gain a group discount. And we facilitate all the different pieces that go into that. There's many different, financial installer education pieces that can be really difficult and challenging when you're trying to install solar alone. And so doing this collectively is sort of marrying the community and organizations and other volunteers and other community folks that, can help that process. Working with local financial institutions to create solarized loans so people who can take out loans have that ability, working on the green addendum so people who are selling their homes can, also benefit by getting that money back if they move before their systems are paid off. So it's really just trying to bring all of those elements together and really striving to make it, not just an affordable process, but an equitable process, and giving people the empowerment to, create something in their communities together.
Well, how long? So you're in Fairbanks, right? And how long have you been doing this? And how much penetration have you been able to make over the course of time?
Yeah, specifically in Fairbanks, we are in our second year. We officially kicked off in 2020. And in Anchorage, it started in 2018. So I've been sort of in the game, Solarize game, for my second year, and it has exceeded my expectations every year. I think to this point, we here in the interior, our first year, we had 3 communities that were solarizing, and now we're up to 5. So we're expecting that trend to continue.
That's great. Well, hopefully some of the incentives that will be passed in the reconciliation bill in the second step will really help you. And I'm wondering, so what further can the administration do to ensure that communities, especially communities who've been left out of the decision-making processes, what can we do to make sure that they have a seat at the table?
Mm-hmm. I think that the things that we can do, I think for one example, the Environmental Justice Advisory Council and having strong Indigenous women leadership on that council is a good step. I think the racial equity plan is a good step. And I think the other piece to add, into that is not just making sure that communities that have been left out have a seat at the table, but really evaluating what their role is when they sit down. We, folks, of the, global majority who have been already doing this work in our communities for a really long time and leading and pushing that way, have to go through a lot in order to have those spaces of authority. So, when they sit down, do they have that power to make those decisions? Or are they really there to make the room look good? Do we still have the support, the mentorship, the resources, the blessings of our communities to be able to do the work that that will bring us out of these crises? And so really evaluating that and ensuring that that happens, at that level with the administration, I think is crucial. It's one thing to be able to sit down. It's another thing to work with the people at the table.
Yeah, active consultation, active partnership. That's so important. And I'm excited to visit next week, and it'd be fun to stop by and see what you guys are all about. So thanks so much for this. Let me advise about what's one thing maybe this administration could do to help knock down barriers to clean energy access for maybe interior Alaskans and other communities that may not have a seat at the table, may find it difficult to be included.
Yeah, one thing, I would say the biggest thing is addressing the crisis that we're compounded by, for sure. We're in a climate crisis, we're in a land and treaty crisis, we're in a housing crisis, healthcare crisis, infrastructure and economic crisis. We're still very much so in a public health crisis with the COVID pandemic. And people, especially, people who are marginalized in this community, in this country, especially, we are all in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, we can't invest, we can't build anything because we're holding up what we have left. So when we address those crises and when we give our communities an opportunity to not just survive, but to breathe and thrive and really start envisioning what the future looks like together, then we'll start seeing that investment, those barriers to being able to afford clean energy to begin with will start to crumble down because we'll be able to save money. We'll be able to afford our houses and buy cars. And yeah, we could probably install some solar panels on our roof because we don't have to worry about living to paycheck anymore. That we don't have to worry about not having broadband so I can be on a Zoom call, you know what I mean? So really addressing those crises and letting those folks who are already on the front lines lead that movement and lead that charge, we'll start seeing that growth, the growth that we absolutely need to see.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that because, of course, the combined, I'm going to do a plug here for the President's Build Back Better agenda because it is about reducing costs of just life for people, whether that's in making sure that every community in America has access to high-speed internet, or whether it's making sure that grandparents have cheaper access to prescription drugs, or can get hearing aids because Medicare has been expanded, or making sure that people who are raising children have their taxes lowered through this child tax credit that will lift, and that has been lifting 50% of kids out of poverty, or access to help with parents caring for them or children if they have young family. I mean, all of that is contemplated. Removing those cost barriers so that people can breathe is really what the Biden administration would like to see happen in this overall Build Back Better agenda, in addition to the climate action that we are going to see as well, including that clean energy standard that will get us to 100% clean electricity by 2035.